All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a great day, whatever day it is for you, and wherever you're listening to this. As always, it's Friday on the podcast, so we're bringing that good Friday energy to you. Today is a good day, and especially for those of you who want to use real estate as a catalyst for freedom in your life, because we have Ryan Mellon with us from the Digital Nomad Nation. Ryan specializes in helping people use real estate to live that free life, to get to the point where they are financially free. And Ryan travels with his cash flow behind him to support his travels. And so that's what we'll jump in here today. So Ryan, thanks for hopping on the show.
Yeah, man, super excited. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I told you, actually, I didn't tell you before we got on here, but I meant to tell you that we always start the show with stories. We like to start to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't we hop to the beginning of your story in real estate and just tell us how you got started and how it's been going so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say about 8 years ago, I was working for two jobs, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I was working in the restaurant business. I was working in a warehouse in the evening, and I only got Sundays off. And it was just brutal. And I got a taste for a little solo travel. I knew I wanted to make some changes in my life. And after that solo trip to Costa Rica, I came back and was like, I really need to make some changes in my life. I can't work these two dead end jobs forever. And so I had a good friend who is doing a lot of real estate. She's buying rentals, she's flipping houses. I mean, just turning major volume. So I got my real estate license. I started to help her do some deals, find rentals, find flips. If I found them and then she would flip it, she would give it back to me on the back end for the listing. So that was great. And so I started to realize all right, I can start doing some stuff in real estate. Maybe I don't need my two jobs. And eventually I just ended up quitting my two jobs. And I talked my best friend and his wife into quitting their jobs as well. And we got in an RV and we did a 1-year road trip of the US with
Nice.
the whole concept was let's just save up enough money so that we don't have to work a year, and we'll figure it out when we get back. That was our plan.
So before we continue on, I love what you said so far. I'm just curious, working two jobs in a restaurant and a warehouse, it sucks that sometimes, I mean, that is almost required for some people, especially in the low wage jobs. I'm a huge proponent of capitalism, and I really don't like, putting a restriction on what companies need to pay. But there is, I mean, just some jobs, if you work 14 hours a day, you should be able to buy yourself a good house, just period. And so you were working those 14 hours. How long did it take you until you got to the point where you were able to quit that job?
As far as in real estate?
In real estate, yep. How long did it take you to replace the income from working those 14 hours?
Well, my story is kind of backwards because I kind of saved up enough money, quit, went on this road trip, and then figured out the real estate thing from there. So I had enough money in savings, quit my jobs. I did own a house at the time. I got a house, my first house, a couple years prior, but I rented it out. And then we went on this road trip. And then over the last 6 years, I would say, I slowly was traveling 6 months out of the year. When I was home in the summertime, I was buying houses, flipping, renovating, renting them, and then going out and traveling again. So I actually didn't have that income before I quit my jobs. I had 1 year's amount of travel money, and I've started doing some real estate deals in the middle of that 1-year road trip remotely. And that's kind of how I built it. So I really started quite backwards. If I was
I did the same. I took the leap. I did not have enough money when I jumped into real estate, but once your back's against the wall, you figure it out. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend people to do it that way because it is stressful, but sometimes, you get to a point in life. I was working a corporate job I absolutely hated, and I just needed a change. I needed to get out of there, and I just said one day I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna do real estate and I'm gonna make it work. And thank God it worked out. But yeah, so you kind of did it. I wouldn't say backwards. You just took a road that you just needed to take. You got some savings. You took that trip,
Yeah.
and then you learned how to do real estate remotely. Um,
Yeah.
while you were, while you're out there traveling, while you were, figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I had my real estate license then, and on that 1 year road trip, I was helping my friend Lori, who was doing huge volume of flips and stuff. We were just like sending out like tons of contracts to foreclosures and bank REOs, bank owned properties at the time. This is like 2018. There were a ton of those. So we were targeting those and just getting tons of those deals. She would flip them, relist them with me. So I was getting all this income like working fully remote on the road trip. When I came back, I realized, wow, I don't need um, like to go back to my two jobs. I can still do the real estate agent thing. But then I started actually buying rentals and like flipping myself and wholesaling. And that's when started like building portfolio, building the passive income.
Got it. Got it. So you were let's pause a moment on what you were doing while you were kind of building your footing in the industry. You mentioned you had partnered with somebody who already had success. She was doing flips. You were kind of learning from her, it sounds like, and you guys were focused on foreclosures and REOs. Take us through that process specifically. What were you guys looking for, and how did you find them, and what was your offer criteria?
Yeah, so basically we were looking at all the like HUD Home Store and the MLS. Usually they're all on there as well. But we also just had like um scanned scanned like copies of my client's signature, like blank contracts. And like we knew the criteria. We would like go in and like videotape it for her because she's out of town, and like we would do 70% of ARV minus repairs. We would kind of calculate the ARVs, and we would just blast out these contracts and put them in the HUD Home Store and put them in and send them to all the agents and everyone we could. And then my client wouldn't even look at it until it came on, like it's under contract. Of course, we had
Wow. Okay.
inspection period. So like we were doing all the legwork for her so that when we came to her, she just had like a good deal already wrapped up on her contract. And 95% of the time she would go through with the sale of it.
And so you guys were doing 70% minus repairs. What market were you doing this in?
This is in like Southeast Virginia, so Hampton Roads.
Got it. Interesting. That is that I mean, it's not a cheap market. Like 70% minus repairs does not work in where we live, like Seattle. People
Yeah,
just won't accept that big of a discount. But
yeah.
but it's surprising. So it did work. I guess you guys are looking specifically for foreclosures. So people were already, you know, they were already kind of in a bind. They were already looking for a way out.
Well, it's mainly we were dealing with the banks, and we figured out how to learn that system and just like putting bids in like HUD Home Store and stuff like that. They had a lot of their own like portals that you had to deal with, and I think that
Hmm.
kept a lot of other people from actually putting in offers because they were really painful and terribly bit set up. But like once we knew how to work them, we would put in like really odd numbers for our offers, not like flat, 100,000, like 100,001, 87 cents, so that we would still kind of come out, stick out somehow, stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah, that
worked.
makes sense. That makes
We did
sense.
like, I think we did like 30 deals in that 1 year that I was on that road trip, like of the States.
And what was your offer to contract rate?
That's a good question. I would say we probably got like 20% of what we put out there under contract.
Oh wow! So one out of every five offers you made actually got into contract, and then you already mentioned 95% of those that you got to contract went to closing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Um, so
There was a
that
lot of
is
inventory then. That was helpful.
in 2018, really
Yeah.
interesting.
Foreclosure, a lot of just REOs, bank owned stuff, foreclosures. Like we don't, I don't see it at all anymore, really.
Yeah, and that is the thing about real estate is a trend will come because of a specific situation in the economy and a local economy. You got to take advantage of it when it's there, and then it'll be gone the next day. Maybe there's self storage underdeveloped in a specific metro. You gotta go out there and take advantage of those as they pop up. So that was kind of how you got your footing, but you said what really allowed you to take on this kind of digital nomad life was the rentals, was the actual cash flow that you got from these rentals. Take us to that process, the process you did to build them, to buy them, to get them rented out, and how you've kind of structured your business up to this point.
Sure. So yeah, I've my first rental outside of the house that I was living in that I rented out was a duplex. And I borrowed private money, like 100% financing through my connections from my friend. Renovated it, got it rented out, traveled like 8 countries, came back home next summer, bought like 3 houses from one landlord, all like no money out of pocket, just borrowing private money. And just I kept doing that like every summer that I was home was buy something, renovate it, get it rented out, and then get out for winter because I hate the cold. Go somewhere where warm. And like I built my portfolio and everything in mind through the lens that I have to be able to manage, because I manage all my properties myself as well. I don't own property management. So as I built up the rentals, like I said, I was up to 17 units at one point. I'm now down to 8 single family, and I'm in a good place with the 8 single family. Like it pays my bills. I was able to pay some off and stuff. And but basically using OPM, right? Other people's money, and then doing like portfolio loan refinance for a big chunk of it. Um, that's basically how I did it, by getting that equity when you buy it, and then forcing more equity with the renovation, and then just going to the bank with a bunch of properties and being like, hey, I need refi all my private lenders out. And that's how I transitioned into longer term money.
Interesting. And the banks will they give you a portfolio loan? Like if you have 10, we'll just use round number, 10 houses, they'll give you if each house is worth 100,000, they'll give you a $1 million loan, or do you have to get a loan for each individual house?
No, so it's one loan. It's a commercial portfolio loan, so it's one loan for the whole portfolio. And so like when I was doing it, I think the minimum loan amount was like 500,000. So you got to have at least a couple, 3 or 4 probably, to make it work. But it's like 25 years amortization, and you're locked in on your rate for 7 years, so it can adjust every 7 years. That is one thing that you need to keep in mind. But like I bought mine in cash flow enough that I can run, like even if my loan were to go up in a couple of years 8%, I'm still gonna be fine.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I've tried to do portfolio loans on the self-storage side. I buy mobile home parks, RV parks, and self-storage facilities. And I've tried to take a couple self-storage facilities and get a loan for them as a bundle, but I haven't had a lot of success doing that. It must be a little bit different on the single family side.
Yeah, I imagine the commercial is going to be more challenging. It might be just too much risk for them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's talk about management. You've mentioned that you do your own management, which is kind of unique especially in the single family side, because once people get past five units, they start to realize that it's kind of it's a lot of work to manage them individually. When you have to deal with tenants, you have to deal with contractors, all that kind of stuff. How do you reduce that headache for yourself, and what are the processes you've kind of built to help you do self management?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like on every single house, I have a lockbox hidden somewhere so that if I'm out of the country, I'm on the other side of the world, and the tenant calls me and says their toilet's broke, but they're at work and I want to get my plumber in there, I can do that. Right. I can give him the lockbox code. He can go in there. He can get it done. I cash app him. He sends me a picture. Toilet's fixed. Done. I have all my tenants pay rent through apartments.com. Any non-emergency maintenance also needs to be submitted to apartments.com so that I'm not getting calls in the middle of the night. Like, let's say I'm in Bali where I spend a lot of time. It's 13 hours different. So not getting a call for something stupid in the middle of the night, only emergencies. And just having a couple good people that you know that you can stop over there if something happens, or, good contractors that can take care of things. Worst case scenario, you got to actually look someone brand new up to send over there, AC guy or something, because your AC guy goes missing. But yeah, I've set it up pretty easily like that. And then also one of the biggest things is I don't let tenants move out from like in the winter time. So my leases don't expire between October through um, like March. And I always tell people, like, you don't want to move in the middle of winter anyhow. They just agree and say, okay.
That's true.
But
Nobody
then
wants to
that,
move in the winter.
yeah, no one wants to move in the winter. And the people that are looking to move in the middle of the winter have to move in winter. And those are not probably the folks you want to be looking at anyhow. So you have a much better market in the summer. And then I'm home in the summer. So all my turnovers tend to be there when I'm there, and I can actually be boots on the ground for the turnover. So that's another thing that I've done, built in the system, so that when I leave for winter, it's just managing from afar, no turnovers, nothing major, no renovations, just, toilets and heats broke or whatever.
Nice, man. I like it. And this is just kind of, an aside, really, but you mentioned that you like to go to Bali. I'm just curious, what are, on average, what are your total monthly living expenses, including, rent for an apartment over there, your food, everything that you would spend in a month in Bali?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, sky's the limit. Like, you can go really classy and really nice in Bali and have a super sweet villa with a private pool. Bali is not an expensive place. Or you can, like, I mean, it can be anywhere from, $500 a month for someone who wants to rough it a little bit, to I usually spend about like 3 grand a month, and I have a private villa and I'm close to the beach and I've got a scooter to ride around on, and you can eat out 3 meals a day and like not
Yeah.
even cook or do laundry. It's cheap.
Well, yeah, and my point is, I mean, you 3,000 to get a private villa. The mortgage for my house is 5,000. Like, period. Like, it's and that's what's so attractive about, building cash flow. $3,000 in cash flow in real estate is not, that's not difficult. I have,
No,
one property does that, and it's really, you can achieve that a lot quicker than you think. So if you want to, not everybody wants to go live in Bali, obviously, but for those who do, it really, you're not that far away from achieving that type of lifestyle where you live completely free from a single property. Granted, it would have to be a commercial property, but it's definitely achievable, and it's pretty amazing when you do that kind of arbitrage between currencies. Or between nations, where it's really cheap to live in one and then expensive in the other. So, yeah,
yeah,
very, very interesting.
absolutely. And that 3,000 is like, that's included. That's like all my expenses, like food, rent, everything,
Yeah.
like transportation. Like, it's very inexpensive. So yeah, geo arbitrage is great. I'm a kind of a minimalist as well. So like, when I'm home, I live on my sailboat. Um, I don't live in any of my properties. That first house I bought, I haven't lived there like 8 years, 8, 9 years. So
Huh, cool. All right, so we are running down the time, but before we move on, I do have to ask, if you were to give advice to anybody out there who wants to get started down this journey that you've already taken. They want to build a portfolio that they can live on, and travel and, live that digital nomad life. What is the advice you'd give them?
I would say get into any in-person meetups like as soon as possible. Get around the people that are actually doing it, what they're doing, and make friends with them, because those are the people that are going to find you deals. They're going to find you money for your deals. You're going to be able to call them when things go sideways, because whatever's happening to you is probably already happened to them. So it's like a good support group.
Nice. I like it. All right, with that, I'm going to push us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Starts with education. It could be any form. It could be a movie you've seen, a book you've read, a conference you've gone to, mentorship program you've been a part of. I just need two recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
So 4-hour work week totally changed my life. And for real estate, I would say Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure that's the classic everyone says, but
It is
that
the classic,
that
but
also
it's
that
classic
is
for a
awesome.
reason.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, next question is for your younger self. Let's go back to the Ryan who was working those two jobs in the restaurant and the warehouse. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
I would say start sooner. I could have been a lot farther along a lot quicker if I started sooner.
Yep. And that is echoed across so many episodes. I think we're almost 600 episodes at this point. And every time that a guest says this, I always point it back to you, the listener. If you are out there, you've been thinking about getting into real estate, this is your kick in the pants. Go out there, get it done. So many people, 80, 90% of the guests that we have on this show wish they got started sooner. So this is your calling. Go out there and just get a deal done. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Once you get that ball rolling, you will not regret it later on. All right, next question is about the US. It's a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
I only invest in my home state, which is South Hampton Roads, Virginia, and it's a great place to invest. We got a lot of military. It's a good place.
Perfect. All right. Next question is about generating leads. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and finding and penning that purchase agreement. So what's your favorite way to generate new leads?
Word of mouth. Everyone knows I buy houses, all my contractors. And so like I get just referrals from people all the time.
All right. There we go. Next question is lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, many, if not all of the deals that we get into, something goes wrong. And that's when we get to learn a lesson. So what was the deal that went a little sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
Yeah, so I had a 6-unit apartment building that it took me 5 years to buy. And
wow.
That's how much follow-up I did. 5 years. I wanted this building so bad, and I got it for an insane price. And I really was a little over my head on the amount of renovation that needed to be done, but I bought it anyhow. And I was not able to complete the renovation. The numbers just did not add up. But I sold it for about a year and a half later for about 300 grand more than I paid for it. So it was also the biggest deal I've ever done without any renovation. So sometimes you just need to pivot, and sell it and just acknowledge, all right, wow, I got a little over my head. Like, don't do it just because you feel like you have to make it happen. And I love that building. I'm so sad that I couldn't like hold on to it, make it happen. But I made a lot of money. I got out of it. And so just looking at your alternatives and sucking it up sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, it is, especially when you've worked so hard on a deal to get it done. You've followed up with the seller, you've gone back and forth. Sometimes you just want to get it done, but putting on those glasses, those rational glasses that just tell you exactly, this is, I got to move on. This is not the deal for me. And then making that decision is what you got to do. It's difficult, especially when you put so much effort into it. It's difficult to make that pivot. But don't let those, I don't know what the word is. Don't let your heartstrings kind of keep you in a deal that isn't good for you.
Yeah. I see that a lot with other investors.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it myself where I wanted a deal so bad, and then I got to the closing table and I was like, really shouldn't be doing this, and I had to back out. But it's hard because you putting so much effort into something makes you want to see it through, makes you want to like follow through with your plan, and pivoting, changing your mind is difficult.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are highlights. There are things go right scenarios where the stars align. So let's talk about that. Let's go to your highlight reel. Take us to a deal where everything went right and tell us how it went.
I would say, like, trying to think like of a specific deal, but just building my portfolio over the years and renovating them and getting that equity and refinancing them just a little at a time really grew my cash flow and really made it so that I don't have to worry about like, um, working, and it's taking care of all of my monthly costs. And so I think I don't have like a specific deal that um, just to talk about, but like I would say just like consistently building that rental, like more and more rentals until I was comfortable and had the cash flow where I could do what I'm doing now is the highlight for me. The
Nice. No,
consistency. Yeah.
absolutely. And consistency is the hardest thing to do. It's especially when you've gone so long, you haven't found a deal in a while, and you just want to get something done. Consistently reaching out, getting those offers out is that is what is difficult about real estate, is just being consistent. So if you do it over time, you will get to where you want to be. All right, that leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. This is a two-parter. First, tell us where they can find you, and then tell us a little bit about Digital Nomad Nation. What can they expect when they reach out, and what can they learn?
Yeah. So you can find me. I'm the Digital Nomad Coach on like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and thedigitalnomadcoach.com. But then I also have a podcast called Digital Nomad Nation, where I interview other digital nomads, where we can get inspired by their stories and how they start, because we all do something very different. Not everyone's in real estate. And that's at digitalnomadnation.com. And I just came out with a masterclass that helps people figure out how to get remote work or become a freelancer. I also do one-on-one coaching with people if they want specific help in their business to create freedom so that they're location independent. And so that's what I am doing as a passion now, because I have enough money coming in with my real estate. I'm traveling all over the world, and so like helping other people out there get into that lifestyle and becoming a location is what I'm passionate about. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Perfect. And where did you say? Can you repeat that one more time? Where can people go to learn more about that?
Yeah, thedigitalnomadcoach.com or digitalnomadnation.com.
All right. And I will put those links in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, all you got to do is click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find Ryan's link. All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to learn more about or if you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.